Today, we will talk about different sets of rational numbers and which groups they belong in. The first group of numbers we are going to look at is counting or natural numbers. This is exactly how it sounds, only positive whole numbers starting with 1. So when we naturally count, we only start with the number 1, we do not start with 0. Some examples of this are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The next group of numbers we are going to look at are whole numbers. The only difference between whole numbers and counting numbers is that it includes 0 as well. Some examples of whole numbers would be 0, 25, 50, 75, 123, and so on. The next group of numbers are integers. Integers are positive or negative whole numbers, so they cannot include decimals or fractions. Some examples of integers would be 1, negative 1, 2, negative 2, 3, and negative 3. Rational numbers are the last group of numbers we are going to look at today. Rational numbers are positive or negative whole numbers, fractions, decimals, whether it be repeating or terminating. Some examples of a rational number are 1, negative 2, 3/4, and 0.75. Now we are going to look at some examples. Here we have 0.33 repeating. Now we have to choose which groups this is a part of. So we start with the smallest always, and that's counting our natural numbers. So we read only positive whole numbers starting with 1. 0.33 does not fall in that category, so we can rule that out. Next, we can go to the whole numbers. Whole numbers are only positive whole numbers starting with 0. 0.33 does not fall in that category either, so we can rule that one out. Then we move on to integers. Integers are positive or negative whole numbers, no decimals. That's what we have here in 0.33, so that is not it. Next, we can move on to rational numbers. Rational numbers are positive or negative whole numbers, fractions, or decimals. That is exactly what we have here in 0.33, so this answer would be rational numbers only. The next number we are going to look at is negative 41. So we look at the smallest group of numbers, which is counting our natural numbers. That says it's only positive whole numbers. Well, here we have a negative, so it cannot be counting or natural numbers. Then we move on to the next smallest, which is whole numbers. Whole numbers are also only positive, so it cannot be a negative. Then we move on to integers. That is negative or positive whole numbers. Well, we have a negative whole number here, so it is an integer. Then we can move on to rational because it can be more than one group of numbers. Rational numbers say positive or negative whole numbers, so it is also a rational number. Therefore, this number, negative 41, is an integer and rational number. 12 is the last number we are going to look at today. So we start at our lowest possible group, which is counting our natural numbers. Counting our natural numbers is only positive whole numbers starting with 1. That is exactly what we have here in 12. Then we move on to whole numbers. Whole numbers, only positive whole numbers. 12 meets that criteria. Then we move on to integers, where we have positive or negative whole numbers. 12 still falls in that category. Then we move on to our last group, which is rational numbers. Positive or negative whole numbers falls there too. So that one is it. So 12 could be represented by counting our natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers. I hope you learned something watching my video today. It is now time to start your homework. If you have any questions, please come see me at my desk.